Ok, j'essaye cette fois. J'essaye de faire tout en français cette fois.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the times celebs flex their multilingual skills along their press trails.
Todavía no me he olvidado el traje de gorila.
Ajá, exacto.
We're mostly focusing on celebs whose lingual abilities extend beyond their native language. Number 30, Emma Thompson, French. For many of us, our high school French lessons are a distant memory, but not for this actress.
En fait, ce film, c'est l'histoire d'un voyage vers le pouvoir. En fait, l'opposition le plus puissante du monde. Et alors, pour moi, c'était une vision pleine d'ironie, pleine d'humour, pleine d'humanité.
Thompson took advanced level French exams at school, but decided to pursue English at the University of Cambridge. However, unlike most of us, she didn't leave her skills in some box to collect dust, as you can hear here.
Votre souper, oui. Vous parlez un français extraordinaire.
Non. Mais sur le sujet que nous irons discuter, c'est un peu plus difficile.
You would never have guessed that she'd left her formal language training in the past. She easily weaves between subjects and has no problem keeping up with her interviewers. Yes, she needs the occasional prompt, but anyone who's ever spoken a second language will tell you that's just how you learn.
Douloureux, c'est être rejeté et pas believed.
Pas cru.
Pas cru. Ça, c'est une chose terrible pour eux.
We think she sounds très magnifique. Number 29, Charlize Theron, Afrikaans. Yes, we're primarily focusing on non-native language interviews, but we couldn't resist mentioning this multi-award-winning actress.
Het is baie moeilik om in Afrikaans te praat as daar net een persoon is wat Afrikaans praat en niemand praat terug nie. So dis 'n bietjie snaaks om.
Theron, who was born and raised in South Africa, grew up speaking Afrikaans and reportedly only started learning English around age 19. We usually hear her speaking in English, so it's such a treat when she switches back to Afrikaans. She did get some flack for saying it was a dying language, so it's extra special when she shows it some love.
Here we go. Moenie die hoender ruk nie, which translates to don't shake the chicken.
Which I would say is good advice, period.
It means don't push it.
As anyone who speaks more than one language will tell you, it can be like having a secret superpower. Well, unless the person you're gossiping about understands it too.
I mean, literally, we're just like ripping into him, thinking that he couldn't understand a word. And he just turned around and just looked at us and he was like, ja, ek kan alles hoor wat julle sê, hoor.
Number 28, Mark Zuckerberg, Mandarin. The social media bigwig stunned everyone by speaking fluent Mandarin to his audience.
大家好，我很高兴来北京，我爱这个城市。
Even though the Meta CEO admitted his skills could use some work, he showed that practice is the way to get better at anything. Zuckerberg shared that he learned Mandarin for a few reasons. First, he wanted to communicate with his wife's family, and even told a sweet story about how he told his future grandmother-in-law about their engagement in Mandarin.
今年以前我和 Priscilla 决定结婚，所以我告诉她的奶奶用中文。
He also mentioned that he was drawn to the challenge of mastering a difficult language. And if anyone loves a good challenge, it's the guy who co-founded Facebook.
第三是普通话很难，我只说英文，但是我喜欢挑战。
Number 27, Gene Kelly, French. An American in Paris? Yeah, that's not just a film starring Gene Kelly. It's basically how you could describe him in real life.
Paris is a mood, a longing you didn't know you had until it was answered. Paris is it's like love, or art, or faith. It can't be explained, only felt.
And not just Paris, he loved all of France. Kelly was a huge fan of everything French and even became fluent in the language.
Je marche sur la plage avec le soleil, avec les belles françaises là. C'est très joli ici.
Seriously, a lot of his movies feel like a love letter to the country. He even showed off his French skills while promoting his then-wife's 1955 film, Marty.
Betty est ici elle a tourné la dernière année aux États-Unis un film appelé Marty.
He looks super relaxed chatting in French, and you can tell he's thrilled to get the chance to speak a language he adores. It's like he had been waiting for this moment. Très formidable.
Le musical de Paris, mais un bon musical. Mais je cherche maintenant parce que j'ai un grand espoir de tourner un autre film de Paris. J'aime la France.
Number 26, John Heder, Japanese. The Napoleon Dynamite actor learned to speak Japanese while visiting the country as a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
I don't even have any good skills.
What do you mean?
You know, like nunchuck skills, bow hunting skills, computer hacking skills.
It's not often that he puts his Japanese skills on full display, but when he does, it certainly sounds impressive. We heard him speak it during a press conference in the 2007 sports comedy Blades of Glory.
いい質問ですね。上手にやりたいと思いましたが、実は2人ともところで目は綺麗ですよ。
However, he's used it in real-world interviews too. For someone who claims their Japanese is rusty, he sure sounds pretty confident to us.
I found out that you speak Japanese.
Okay.
Are you fluent still?
I'm not too... I'm a little rusty.
I was just gonna say, like, come join us at Next Fest in Japanese.
The interviewer asks him to say a few words, and while we're no experts, he certainly seems to say a lot more.
皆さんは楽しみにしていますけど、いろいろな映画を見たら楽しみ時間。
Number 25, Freddy Highmore, Various. We grew up watching Freddy Highmore in movies like Finding Neverland and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and then in TV shows like Bates Motel and The Good Doctor. But did you know he's also a seriously impressive linguist?
À l'université à Cambridge en Angleterre. Ouais.
Et vous savez parler combien de langues?
Bah, espagnol et français un petit peu.
Ah, c'est tout? Ah, ça va. Ah oui, pas grand-chose en fait.
Exactement.
Highmore aced advanced level exams in Spanish and French, and then went on to study Spanish and Arabic at Cambridge University. It's clear he kept those skills sharp, as you can catch him chatting with interviewers in all of those languages.
Bueno, mejor que practique, ¿no? Que hace tiempo que no estoy en España, así que como 2 años fuera, seguro que voy a cometer muchísimos errores, pero bueno, mejor practicar que...
Pero sale perfecto, madre mía.
We're pretty sure they were just as wowed as we are. To us, he sounds like a total natural in every language he speaks.
أنا من from الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية. The United States. You've got it. You're going to be great.
Nope.
Number 24, Daniel Brühl, Various. Brühl comes from a multicultural and multilingual background. His dad is German-Brazilian and his mum is Spanish.
Abhängig von der Organisation. Und manchmal hast du öffentliche und das ist natürlich super, weil das macht schon auch noch mal was, wenn du den Film zusammen mit anderen Leuten guckst.
He grew up speaking Catalan, French, German, Portuguese and Spanish. Those languages have been a game changer for his career, opening doors to all sorts of roles and allowing him to promote his work worldwide. What's cool is how he effortlessly switches between languages during press tours, which is huge considering how global his films are.
Pero ahora también me he cansado un poco de Berlín, aunque me sigue gustando, y siempre volví a Barcelona porque me encanta. Igual es la ciudad preferida que tengo porque es perfecta en muchos sentidos.
We bet fans go wild hearing him speak in their native tongue. We know we'd be thrilled. His ability to do that has really solidified him as a big-time international star who is able to connect with audiences everywhere.
J'ai famille en France, à Toulouse et à Paris.
Très belle ville. On salue
Françoise et Françoise.
Très bien.
Oui.
On embrasse vos tantes.
Now I switch to English. Je vais parler en anglais.
Number 23, Mika, Various. The singer was born in Beirut, Lebanon, but his family fled to Paris when he was a baby after the war broke out. Mika grew up in Paris until he was 9, and then his family moved to London.
Mais ce qui est étonnant, c'est que quand je viens à Paris, je me sens comme s'il y a une partie de moi qui est Paris. Il y a une partie aussi de cette ville qui m'appartient à moi. Même si je suis né à Beyrouth, je me sens comme s'il y a une partie de cette ville qui m'appartient.
It turns out he's got a real knack for languages. Besides French and English, he picked up Spanish and even mastered Italian, reportedly in just 2 months.
Dunque, non avendo e non essendo uno figo con uno six-pack, anche se un giorno forse mi piacerebbe avere uno, però me lo dico ogni mattina e poi vedo un croissant e vedo la felicità.
The singer isn't shy about pulling out his language skills during interviews either. You can find multiple examples of him showcasing his talent across the web.
Sto studiando l'italiano, ok? Però he studiato l'espagnol desde hace 10 años. Wow.
If you're lucky enough to meet him and it just happens to be your birthday, he can even serenade you in multiple languages.
Oh, very
good.
Perfect.
Sana helwe yagami.
Oh, this is good.
Yeah, cumpleaños feliz. This is good. Tanti auguri a te. Wait, what about that?
Number 22, Donna Summer, German. Just shy of graduating high school, Summer auditioned for and landed a role in the Munich-based production of Hair, the musical.
Yes, I auditioned for Hair in America, and then I went to Europe with Hair in 19...
And had you done theater before that?
No.
No, you didn't?
No.
And did you get the part right away?
Oh, yes.
You did?
Yes.
While there, she picked up the language, and after the show took its final bows, she decided to stay in Germany for a while. It's remarkable to think that this period marked the start of her career. German isn't the easiest language to learn, so hearing her speak it fluently is really impressive.
Ich habe viele Leute kennengelernt, die jetzt meine deutsche Familie sind. Und deswegen bin ich nach München gegangen, damit ich sie alle zusammenbringen können, dass wir Mahlzeit zusammen haben kann, weil ich in Deutschland bin.
Summer, of course, went on to become an international superstar, but it's humbling to hear her speak the language that takes her back to where her journey began. Heaven knows, German speakers probably love hearing her speak it too.
Nachdem, dass ich meine Kinder jetzt großgezogen habe und ich also auch mit dem großgezogen bin.
Number 21, Christopher Lee, French and German. You know Lee from his super impressive film career and extensive resume.
You've been busy of late, my friend.
But did you know he's just as remarkable when it comes to languages? Besides his native English, he could reportedly speak French, German, Italian and Spanish, and even dabbled in Greek, Russian and Swedish.
On existe, il faut exister, il faut être viril, fort, puissant. C'est tout contenu.
His multilingualism came in handy throughout his career, helping him connect with and find new fans around the world.
Vielleicht 6 oder 7.
Dann darf ich mir eine aussuchen, ja? Also Deutsch.
Ja, Französisch, Englisch natürlich, Spanisch, Italienisch, ein bisschen Deutsch, Russisch, Dänisch, ein bisschen Griechisch.
We have no doubt that being a polyglot contributed, at least in part, in helping make him an international legend. Seriously, we're in total awe of how fluent he was in so many tongues. We could easily spend hours just listening to him switch between them.
2 oder 3 Jahre, ich habe gesungen. Ich war Opernsänger in Schweden, Dänemark und so weiter.
Number 20, Ben Affleck, Spanish. In the actor's own words, he's a passable Spanish speaker. He and his brother Casey and their mum spent some time in Mexico while the boys were filming a TV series as kids. The brothers picked up the language simply from being immersed in it every day. He sounds pretty good, at least to those of us whose bilingual dexterity is limited to high school Spanish.
Gracias, muy bien estar aquí, es un gran honor. Estoy muy contento de estar aquí con mis
con los actores que están en la película conmigo. Es un buen noche.
Affleck isn't afraid to demonstrate those so-called passive abilities on the promotion circuit either, dipping into his second language on numerous occasions. When he appeared on the Spanish talk show Despierta America, he even conducted the entire conversation in Spanish.
En México, cuando tuve 13 años, vive allá. Y entonces no tengo un perfecto vocabulario o los verbos, pero tengo acento.
Affleck jokingly shared that his only concern is that his daughter is overtaking him in fluency.
That's why I was like, nope, this is not happening. I don't mind that I can't do your math homework. You're 14 years old.
But you will not be.
But you are not going to be better at Spanish than me.
Number 19, Will Smith, Spanish. Even though The Fresh Prince has been entertaining us for decades, not many of us knew that he could speak Spanish.
Su caso ha llegado a mi conocimiento y me gustaría conocerte.
We heard him speak the language in 7 pounds, but of course this is a scripted performance that he could have just learned really well. So the biggest surprise came during this interview when we discovered that he could do a lot more than just read Spanish from a script.
Muy importante, creo que en los Estados Unidos la gente habla una idioma, pero todos los países del mundo la gente habla 2 o 3 idiomas. So.
His language skills are bueno, and the accent is no va mal either. We're sure that this is always an exciting surprise for his Spanish-speaking fans.
Yeah, I mean, creo que soy el mejor.
Number 18, Serena Williams, Italian and French.
Ok, io parlo un poco italiano. Vorrei dire un poco.
As the enthusiastic reception demonstrates, fans were impressed by even the little Italian Serena claimed to speak. However, the more we hear her, the more it seems to us she's just being modest. She effortlessly transitions into the language during multiple press conferences, and much like her game, her skills are a grand slam.
Mi piace tanto Roma. Roma è nel mio cuore. Va bene, sono molto contenta oggi per la vittoria.
Williams also speaks fluent French, claiming one of the reasons was for her eventual French Open win. She said, "I wanted to speak French when I won." She also said it was important because it's a mainstream language in many African countries. She's demonstrated her fluency in several interviews and indeed fulfilled her dream at the French Open as well.
Parce que pour moi, dans ma tête, je pense, si je perds, avant, je travaillais beaucoup et je assez encore. Mais si je pense, je perds et je peux, c'est pas bon pour le champion.
Number 17, Guy Ritchie, Hebrew. The director was first drawn to learn Hebrew following his fascination with the Jewish teachings of Kabbalah.
כן, אבל האישה שלי היא לדברת עברית. So ככה אנחנו לפני עם ילדים שלי. אנחנו לדבר בעברית.
He first surprised his interviewer and Hebrew-speaking audiences when he promoted King Arthur in Israel in 2017. However, for many, Ritchie's language skills were a well-kept secret until the 2019 Aladdin live-action remake. Speaking with the Israeli outlet Ynet, he demonstrated an impressive conversational level of fluency.
אנחנו צריכים להגיש שהסרט חדש, אבל את הזמן אנחנו צריכים להגיש הסרט.
נוסטלגיה.
כן, בדיוק.
Some sources claim that he insists on promoting his work in Hebrew while in Israel. He shared that he had a good teacher who taught him via Skype. When asked why he chose to learn Hebrew, he responded, "Why not?"
אנחנו מדבר ביחד. עכשיו, זה אין בעיה בשבילי.
Number 16, Sandra Bullock, German.
Was ist der perfekte Antrag? Wie muss aussehen?
Da ist kein perfektes. Das gibt's nicht.
As the daughter of German opera singer Helga Mathilde Meyer, this actress was raised in a bilingual home. She spent 12 years of her childhood moving between Germany, Austria, and the US, so her German is pretty fluent.
And is this true that you grew up in
In Germany?
Yes, between Germany and Washington, D.C.
I never realized that.
I know.
How long were you
to
in
make me
Germany?
more fascinating to you now?
According to German publication Welt, though, the actress seems rather self-conscious when speaking her second language, perhaps due to struggling with its grammar, a plight that anyone raised bilingual will understand.
Nicht perfekt, aber es geht. Du kannst es verstehen, also es geht.
Haben Sie noch Möglichkeiten, Deutsch zu sprechen?
Ja, die Familie in Deutschland.
German can seem like a different and intimidating language to learn the best of times. But Sandra has flexed her Deutsch on several occasions.
Wer hätte gedacht, dass all diese Berufe mich eines Tages auf diese Bühne führen würden? Aber
we're no experts, but she sounds great to us.
Tante Christel, Onkel Heinz, danke. Danke alle.
Number 15, Colin Firth Italian. Remember in Love Actually, when Colin Firth's character learned Portuguese to win over Aurelia?
Claro que eu pensar que tu dizes não. Mas é Natal, só queria saber.
Well, it turns out that this wasn't a huge leap from reality for the actor. After meeting Italian film producer Livia Giugioli in 1996, Firth decided to learn Italian. Although in this case, it seemed like he was trying to impress his future in-laws.
Conosco troppo bene Italia per romanticizzare tutto, però ho una grande rapporto con l'Italia per motivi ovvi. Adesso ho 2 bambini italiani.
Certo.
He became fluent in the language down to the hand gestures and impressed many more than just Giugioli's parents. He's done several interviews in Italian, including one at the Venice Film Festival. Who knows, maybe his next step will be starring in Italian movies.
Questi mariti diversi con cui vive. Grazie a tutti voi presenti, grazie al giuria, grazie al festival.
Number 14, Christoph Waltz, French, English and German. The Inglourious Basterds actor was born and raised in Austria, so his native languages are German and English. However, he's also fluent in French, which is yet another language that can be heard in the Tarantino movie.
Verdict. Comme je disais, pas si mauvais.
Indeed, his multilingual skills impressed many critics, but his linguistic abilities extend so much further than reciting lines from a script. He's genuinely trilingual and can easily slip in and out of all 3 languages.
Waldeinsamkeit. Okay, so A, the experience of wandering around alone in the forest and being overcome with a sense of woodland solitude.
The internet is filled with interviews that showcase his talents for those who are interested. In some cases, he might even be speaking in one language and drop into another mid-sentence simply because it more accurately represents what he's trying to say.
Vous avez pu parler à Quentin au téléphone? Bonsoir.
Non, pas encore, parce que je suis ici, mais the first moment I get.
Number 13, Chris Hemsworth, Bahasa Indonesian.
Indonesia? Apa khabar?
Baik-baik.
Siapa namamu?
Cinta Kio.
Nama saya Chris.
In a 2015 interview that went viral, Chris Hemsworth shocked fans and his interviewer by recalling some of his school days and speaking Indonesian. As soon as the host introduces herself as representing Indonesia, Hemsworth gets in there and rattles off practically every sentence he can think of.
Bagaimana cuaca hari ini?
Wow.
No
cuacanya
way.
baik.
Wow.
Needless to say, many of us were left astonished. We may not understand what he was saying, but we know we should be impressed based on the interviewers and Chris Evans' reaction. Indonesian is one of the foreign languages taught in Australian schools, and though Hemsworth admits he didn't pay much attention, he's clearly retained enough to make light conversation.
Where I was from, Melbourne, Sydney, it's like a 6-hour flight or something. But we learned it in school too.
Oh, wow.
Number 12, Kobe Bryant, Italian. When basketball legend Kobe Bryant was just 6 years old, his family moved to Rieti in central Italy. Naturally, while there, he picked up the native language and became accustomed to the culture.
Certamente, sempre nel cuore. Guarda, nel mio spogliatoio in Los Angeles ho una maglietta AC Milan, ho una scarfa AC Milan che lo metto dentro il mio spogliatoio e lo vedo ogni giorno.
When he was 13, the family moved back to Philadelphia, but Bryant kept up with his Italian. You can hear him speak it in multiple interviews, and it's astounding.
Però una bellissima cosa. Non ho mai visto questo, ma mi stava dicendo. Mi ha detto, devi venire qua a giocare.
Oggi. He's completely fluent, so much so you'd think he was dropping Italian into everyday conversations all the time. Incidentally, the sports icon can also speak Spanish quite fluently and has done so at press conferences. He truly was a man of many talents.
Ahora me siento muy relajado, ¿no? Puedo jugar el campeonato con mucho más divertimento en mi corazón.
Number 11, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, French.
Do you speak French? Well, no, but I will.
This self-proclaimed Francophile is so imbued with his love for the country and its culture that he decided to learn the language too. He even studied French poetry at Columbia University. While he played real-life Frenchman Philippe Petit in The Walk, we've yet to see him completely flex his French language skills in a movie role. Nevertheless, you can hear his impressive skill set in an array of interviews.
Rumeur. Il y a beaucoup de rumeurs, mais c'est que ça, rumeur.
Of course, it's not perfect, but he's fluent enough to do entire interviews with confidence. For someone who's learned the language out of a passion for all things French, we have to say we're pretty impressed.
Ouais, c'est beaucoup de travail, mais si je suis arrivé avec cet résultat, ça me dit beaucoup pour avoir un Français comme vous dire ça. That's what I wanted.
Number 10, John Cena, Mandarin. Speaking at a historic WWE press conference in China, the wrestler turned actor had us all in shock as he delivered a speech in seemingly eloquent Mandarin.
WWE 生意跟包铺广路都在中国以前不大，我认为这是坏事。
Supposedly, he studied language and music to keep his brain sharp. Cena explained that he became obsessed with Mandarin at the time that the WWE was trying to enter the Chinese market. He had 2-hour sessions with a tutor to help him learn the famously tricky language.
And by the way, that was like super tough. I'm still learning and my Chinese is really basic, but it's been 5 years now.
Cena at one point used his abilities to insult Piers Morgan on Good Morning Britain and cause controversy by unintentionally and accidentally weighing in on the China-Taiwan conflict. He's since apologised for his mistake and what we assume is perfect Mandarin. He's kept us awestruck with how easily he seems to nail the language.
电视你可以看到 Jimmy Fallon.
That's right! That's what you do! That's how you do it right there!
Number 9, Natalie Portman, Various. Born in Jerusalem to an Israeli dad and an American mom, Portman grew up in a bilingual household. Indeed, you can hear her speak Hebrew in several interviews.
אף פעם לא משעמם שם, בכלל לא. אז כן, אבל זה מלחיץ גם.
However, the actress went on to learn French, Spanish, German and Japanese to varying degrees. She even showed off some ASL in Paul McCartney's music video for My Valentine.
And she'll be there, this love of mine, my Valentine.
She's also felt comfortable enough in her multilingual abilities to address audiences and interviewers in a range of tongues. We all knew that this Harvard grad was super smart, but being able to engage with fans in their languages is definitely part of what makes her so likable.
חי בסרט. This is a great one. This means you're living in a movie.
Number 8, Gwyneth Paltrow, Spanish. Due to countless family holidays in France, the actor has a pretty conversational level of French.
Était très bien, était mignon, mais maintenant, dans la troisième, elle est beaucoup plus forte, beaucoup plus intéressante. Aussi, la relation entre Tony et Pepper, c'est un petit peu plus compliqué.
However, when she was a teenager, she spent a few weeks in Spain and totally fell in love with the language and culture.
Bueno, cuando tenía 15 años yo estaba estudiando español en el colegio en Nueva York y la profesora nos han dicho, bueno, hay una oportunidad a ir a España a estudiar ahí.
So much so that she's tried to pass on her passion to her kids by speaking to them in Spanish and whisking them off to the country once a year. In this interview, for instance, Paltrow details her love for the country in an almost flawless accent.
Y me encantó y fue como una temporada en mi vida muy importante. Me encanta España, la cultura latina.
She can act, she can sing, she's a successful businesswoman, and she can speak multiple languages. What can't she do? Number 7. Lupita Nyong'o, Spanish. Nyong'o had her breakthrough role in the highly acclaimed 12 Years a Slave back in 2013. It was also around that time that we first discovered that she was fluent in Spanish.
Nací en México porque mi papá estaba enseñando en el Colegio de México en el DF y nací en el tercer año que estaba allí y a los 16 años regresé a México para aprender español. Viví en Tasco, Guerrero.
The actor was actually born in Mexico, but her family returned to Kenya before she was a year old. As a teenager, her parents sent her back to Mexico to learn Spanish. Incidentally, she's also fluent in Luo and Swahili and identifies as Kenyan Mexican.
Okay. Harraka, harraka, haina, barraca.
¿Puedes decir algo en español?
Me gusta hablar contigo así.
In 2019, she also appeared on the Spanish morning show Nuevo Dia. Although she opted to mix it up between English and Spanish, she does so seamlessly.
Porque estaba haciendo, estaba inspirada de la condición spasmodic dysphonia.
Number 6. Bradley Cooper, French. For most of us, our high school language lessons are nothing but a distant memory. But for Cooper, learning French growing up only spurred his love for the language.
Comment a débuté ta carrière? Comment t'as démarré dans le métier?
Comment j'ai commencé? Oui.
He went on to study English and French at Georgetown and spent 6 months on exchange in Aix-en-Provence. And if you were unaware that he could speak another language, you're certainly not alone. It's surprisingly rare to hear Cooper flex his French, but on occasion, he will bring it out for interviews.
Peut-être je peux essayer en français.
Essayer en français?
Oui. Désolé si j'ai fait
non,
c'est
parfait.
Clearly, he needed more reasons to make the fans swoon, because just being the amazingly talented Bradley Cooper apparently isn't enough.
La meilleure interview de ma vie.
Trop gentil, merci.
Ouais.
Number 5. Shakira, French, Italian and Portuguese. If you thought that being bilingual was impressive, Shakira's language skills will blow your mind.
Oh, baby, when you talk like that, you know you got me hypnotized. So be wise and keep on.
Not only does she have a phenomenal singing voice and hips that don't lie, but she's also impressively multilingual. In addition to her native Spanish and of course English, the Colombian-born singer can also speak French, Italian, Portuguese and Arabic to varying degrees.
No, capisco tutto, però non lo parlo molto bene. No.
So we have to be aware of what we
Bisogna
say.
imparare l'italiano, sì, capisco
okay.
tutto.
Quindi se vuoi parliamo italiano. Va bene?
Ok.
Allora adesso
me da paura.
It's obviously quite a handy skill to have when you're an international star, and one that she's put into good use. Whether it's just a few sentences or the entire interview, we're sure that hearing Shakira speak their language is always a delight for her fans.
But right now I've forgotten a little bit because I haven't been able to practice, so don't embarrass me right now.
Elle veut pas être embarrassée parce qu'elle a un peu
Mais
oublié.
je suis très heureuse d'être ici.
Number 4, Audrey Hepburn, Various. As well as being an icon of Hollywood glamour, Hepburn was an accomplished polyglot. She spoke several languages, including French, English, Spanish, Italian and Dutch.
Begon omdat toen deze hele avond ons de plannen maakten en ik had Paul van Vliet in televisie gezien, nooit in theater.
The actress was born to a Dutch mother and an Austrian-British father and was raised as an English speaker, although clearly not from the East End of London if My Fair Lady is anything to go by. As for Spanish, French and Italian, she learned them later on. Hepburn was no stranger to flaunting her multilingualism on the press circuit. The internet is full of examples of her engaging in interviews in other languages.
Mais il y a cette image de perfection inaccessible d'Audrey Hepburn.
De moi. C'est terrible.
Oui,
ça.
c'est terrible. C'est lourd à porter peut-être.
J'aime pas penser que je suis comme ça.
Oui.
We are no experts, but she sounds pretty amazing to us, no matter what language she's speaking.
The rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain.
I think she's got it.
Number 3, Tom Hiddleston. French, Spanish, Italian and Greek.
Todavía no me he olvidado el traje de gorila.
Ajá, exacto.
Is that right?
Muy buen trabajo, yeah.
Which is that I haven't forgotten the gorilla suit.
The actor's profound interest in language has proven rather useful when connecting with his fans around the world.
I suppose it is our primary tool of externalizing the many complex feelings and thoughts we have as human beings.
Hiddleston has learned so many additional ones to his native English that we could easily write a top 10 just about that. Of course, he's more fluent in some than others, but he is comfortable in almost any language.
Aussi, il est très très charmant, il est élégant, il est un joueur, il aime provoquer.
He's given interviews in French and Spanish, plus showed off a little Italian and Greek, among other languages as well. We can only imagine the joy that his fans feel when they hear him speak their language, as if we needed another reason to love him.
En toisi deinos tumon ukapolesen alorton usistesin hosatoste u hemas hotrunes kautosen protoisepe. It's amazing. Electra.
Number 2, Jodie Foster, French. As a child, Foster attended the bilingual Lycée Français de Los Angeles, which is how she became fluent in French.
Et elle n'avait jamais quitté les États-Unis avant l'âge de 50 et quelques. Et là, elle est venue pour la première fois qu'elle est partie des États-Unis. Elle est allée en France. Elle a dit « C'est magnifique, il va falloir que tu parles français et tu vas venir vivre ici. » Et ça s'est passé comme ça.
Her fluency helped propel her career as she was able to act in French movies and dub herself in translated adaptations of English-speaking films. Of course, this also means that she's no stranger to the French-speaking press either. You can see her give numerous interviews in flawless French throughout her career.
Donc elle ne veut pas se détruire, donc elle détruit.
C'est une femme qui dit « Bon, je n'ai plus envie d'être cette sorte de victime sur moi-même. Je ne vais plus me détruire, je vais vous détruire. »
In 2011, she hosted the French equivalent of the Oscars, the César Awards. As if that isn't cool enough, she also speaks a relatively conversational level of Italian, Spanish and German, which you can also hear in a few interviews.
How do you feel tonight? ¿Cómo te sientes esta noche?
Me siento muy bien. I feel great. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, Viggo Mortensen, Various. Arguably one of Hollywood's greatest polyglots, it feels like there's no language Mortensen hasn't mastered.
Det var så smukt. Det var så usædvanligt at være sådan et sted, så jeg kunne ikke rigtig klage. Og når man har været med til Ringenes Herre.
The Danish-American actor grew up in a bilingual household but can speak 7 languages to varying degrees. He's fluent in English, Spanish, Danish, and Canadian French, and can hold conversations in Italian, Catalan, and Arabic.
No, pero después, ¿qué hacen? Porque yo tenía en mente que había un montón de piernas y brazos y cosas detrás del hospital, no sé qué.
Que colocaban uno nuevo, era.
Porque como es un pollo y bueno, tirar los huesos.
He's used his multilingualism throughout his career, both for roles and to promote his work worldwide. It's a handy set of skills to have, and has no doubt helped cement his reputation as an international star. Between his many achievements, eclectic career, and an awe-inspiring array of languages, it's almost unfair how talented one man can be.
Mais je suis content dans la forêt aussi. Je suis content d'être seul, de ne parler pendant quelques jours. Ça me va. C'est pas tout le monde qui aime ça, je comprends.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.